There are no physical limits to providing plenty of good food for every one of the 7.5 billion people on Earth and the billions to come. We have a policy crisis.
In July, the World Food Program put out this map. It shows where we are after 6 months into the spread of COVID-19. There are some 30 nations you can call hotspots for hunger. Look at this continent by continent and begin with Africa, because on that continent you see 15 nations on the map. The combined number of people in those nations, not their whole populations, but the ones actually needing food, is 154 million. Go to Asia. You see 6 nations shown, from Yemen all the way eastward. Now, the number of people in these nations needing food assistance within them totals to 59 million people. And then come to the Americas. There are 9 nations shown now. Last year, it was 6 before the pandemic, and the number of people in need now is 16 million people. Last year, it was over something like 4.5 million. So this is how bad it is. Now, what happened is in April, the head of the World Food Program, David Beasley, went to the UN Security Council on this worsening picture, and he briefed them. And here's his language. He said, "We are on the verge of a hunger pandemic. If we don't prepare and act now, we could be facing multiple famines of biblical proportions within a few short months." He said that even before COVID-19, I said that 2020 would be the worst humanitarian disaster since World War II. Then he gave the numbers to the Security Council I already showed, and he said, "Our analysis shows that 300,000 people could starve to death every single day over a 3-month period."
Hi, my name is Nicole Frank. I'm a fifth-generation cattleman. I live in Kansas, and being a cattleman, we go through a lot of people with labeling. A lot of people, especially with the World Wildlife Federation or animal rights people, and pretty much our own government, they're saying we're the bad people. They're saying we don't know what we're doing, and they said they need to take over. Well, 2 years ago we had the worst winter I could ever think of. It was snow every other day, ice every other day, and we still had to get up and check our cows because it were calving season. We have a fall and spring herd. And I would wake up at 5:30, check on the heifers. Mom would go out and check on the cows. And it was getting so bad that we would ask how many are dead. We don't do it because we're heartless. We have a heart. Yes, it's our income, but we take pride in taking care of these 4-legged critters. That same year, the year before, we lost 452 farmers and ranchers due to suicide. You won't hear that. We are a proud people. You have to feel it in your soul that you're going to be a farmer, that you want to take care of somebody. You want to help feed the world. We lost 452. That number jumped up to 515. That's not all of it. A lot of the numbers weren't counted because everyone puts down as farm accident. You hear a farm accident, that's actually a farm suicide. And then the packers, they don't care. They drop the prices. This last spring, we were selling our last load of fall calves, and it was $1.18. Oh, that's a good price. And then one of the Tyson's plant in Kansas, it was a storage unit full of boxes, not even on the site, caught on fire. And they had to shut everything down. Do you think the packers would have all said, okay, we're going to compete now? No. They all went into a black room and said, we're going to drop the prices. Instead of getting $1.18, we got 99 cents. And then COVID hit. That has nothing to do with the beef industry. And you know what happened there? I saw the prices went down to 84 cents. And last time it was 84 cents was back when my grandpa was young. These packers don't care about us.
Now look at the U.S. 80% of all the cattle are slaughtered and combined with meat from around the world and other countries by 4 transnational mega corporations. One of the 4 is JBS, a Brazilian-owned company. It's the world's biggest meat company, operating from Germany to Australia on 5 continents. It has 230,000 employees, a gigantic packing houses, huge. And slave labor in Germany from like Romania and Bulgaria. In the U.S., it comes from Africa and Central America, and in Brazil, from the poorest people with no other livelihood. The producers are systematically underpaid for their cattle, sheep, and chickens. This has become the norm. This is what we're up against. I can show you the same thing with all the other cartel companies. When the COVID-19 virus hit, no wonder these plants shut down and food chaos hit. Farmers and ranchers were then stuck with millions of cattle and pigs with nowhere to process them. They can't withstand bad weather, a virus, or anything. This cartel system is for making money and not food.
The free trade agreements concluded between our countries and the European Union have made Africa the recipient of diced meat and other poultry unfit for consumption. In the Congo, what we eat kills us. Because of high production costs, the average price of a locally produced chicken is $6 compared to $2 for an imported chicken. The issue of health is closely related to the food issue. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know it. The globalist oligarchy operates by attacking the normative powers of states. It is therefore necessary to rehabilitate the state, allowing it to recover all its instruments of sovereignty so that it can fulfill its regalian functions, the most important of which is the protection of its population. And this involves denouncing the debt and the dictates imposed by the IMF and the World Bank. It is the responsibility of the state to think, implement and finance public health policies.
The agriculture sector is being destroyed. So if we don't become very alarmed very soon, I mean, a lot of this could have prevented if people had listened to Lyndon LaRouche. We had applied his 4 laws. We had Glass-Steagall back on the books. We had the Bretton Woods system back on the books to curb the speculation that's going on and destroying the productive sector that's left. I feel sorry for these young people. And I really feel sorry for the eaters if they don't come to their senses soon and demand support for the productive sector and an economic system that will support infrastructure building and this infrastructure. It's just like Nawapa. If we had had Nawapa for California, would we have all these houses burned down, all these potential forests for future homes that we should have? That's not available to these kids anymore. It's time to listen to the wise words of Lyndon LaRouche.
Consumer. And so what we've done is we've decided to not sell our cattle to big meat packers anymore. And for the last 9 years, this mobile slaughter unit has been in St. Francis, Kansas at our cattle operation. It's got a complete corral system, as you can see here. It's got a kill box. where the animal's killed humanely under USDA inspection. And this trailer produces a carcass. And this carcass then is hauled up to Colorado Springs to our food hub. And this could be a food hub in Lusaka, Zambia. It could be a food hub in Philadelphia. It could be a food hub just anywhere in the world. But it's where food can be brought in its raw form and transformed into food that can be purchased by consumers. And of course, this needs to also include the marketplace, to where the consumer can not only see how their food is being handled and produced and processed, but have access to be able to purchase it. And so this is what we have in Colorado Springs to meet that objective. This company, Ranch Foods Direct, has been around about 20 years, and the Peak to Plains Food Distribution Hub is a 3-year-old project here in Colorado Springs. This is an example of a unit that is in Namibia, Africa. It's going very well over there. It is built to the specs so it can be inspected, depending on the rules of the place where the unit is. But this is a far better alternative for a community than the big meat packing conglomerates that are capturing all of the profit and leaving us with nothing. And so with this model, you basically kill the animal where they are, which is far more humane, and it produces a cleaner product going to the consumer. The carcasses are aged properly and then cut up somewhere in the urban center or near where the consumers are. Friesla is the name of the company that provides these facilities, and I just think it's a brilliant way to rebuild infrastructure and do it in either a mobile, or in this case, in this slide, a modular type of an approach. And so if you don't plan on moving the unit, which I would recommend you not do, because by using it in a sort of docking station type of a format, we can really control everything. We can control the water, the electricity, we can control the slaughter waste, and we can also control the animals in a good corral system where they can be humanely euthanized.
To say that there is a market for food, national market or international market for food, which one should be for or against that market, is like saying that there is a market for credit in the United States. There is no market for credit. There are 11 huge banks, and they are withdrawing credit, as Helga mentioned a little while ago. They're in the process of pulling credit out of that credit market, not putting it in. The Fed puts liquidity into them. They pull credit out of the market in order to speculate. So the individual farm household is not facing a credit market. Instead, it's duking it out with probably one local bank, which has a lot of bad loans and a high cost of acquiring capital right now, and therefore is not offering them much of anything in the way of credit. And the same thing applies to whether there is a market for food. Again, the American system, which I discussed in my presentation earlier, later in the 19th century, a great deal was written by American system economists about wages, prices, tariffs, and in particular, Henry Carey, Lincoln's friend and sometime advisor, put down as a principle that the closer producers were brought to their suppliers and those who are going to buy their products, the higher incomes for everyone would be. That if you have a diversity, a local diversity of both industry and agriculture, and the interchange of products among them is primarily not small, but in a local and regional area, the prices, wages, incomes of everybody are going to be higher as a result of that. And that we have to bring that about. The kind of operation that Mr. Calcrate described earlier, his own operation. Obviously, we have to make it possible that that kind of thing spread across the United States and also in Europe. And this is where a real national credit institution comes in.
So if there is any combination of people who, like the 3 presidents or the 5 presidents, and they would say, this is an unprecedented crisis. We never, probably in all of history, never had something like that. So we propose a program which does take care of the needs of all people on this planet. And we will implement that, and we will have a new Bretton Woods system because we need credit for development. I don't think anybody, maybe the City of London, maybe some other tiny places, would oppose it. But I can assure anybody who is worried about that the world is crying for leadership. And I can only hope that our mobilization coming out of this conference will inspire enough people so that we are asserting the pressure to have a new world economic order, to have a world health system, to stop the famine. I mean, what are we waiting for? I mean, this is an unprecedented crisis, and if we use the proceedings of this conference to escalate on all of these points, maybe we can create an environment where these leaders of the most powerful countries feel the inspiration that they will be judged by history, and they have to make sure that there is a history, because if there's World War III, that is really ended. So I think we should go out of this conference being inspired, being provoked, being challenged, but get active like never before.